different movies that have taken place before I get to the movie I'm going to talk about. However, it was pretty clear from at least one of his other franchises that it was pretty clear what's going to start happening in this person's career is that we're just going to keep making movies to insulate and secure his ego. Now, you can call a lot of different people. I'd like to call Ben Affleck all the time because I would argue 70% of his movies are really just to protect his ego or to really just fantasize his own fantasy of who he likes to think he is at certain times. The Accountant.
That's Gans. I'm gonna have to give you that point for sure.
I mean, The Accountant, Batman. The reason why Batman didn't work is because it was Ben Affleck being Batman. And I'm not saying Ben Affleck couldn't be Batman if he actually acted in the role and tried to become someone different instead of just, this is what it would look like if Ben Affleck was Batman. It probably would have worked. But no, it was just Ben Affleck who just happened to be Batman at that time. It was almost like this is a real life of Ben Affleck, and we just get to see the snapshot when he just happens to be in Gotham. So that becomes problematic, and I can't really stand those things. So when this actor, who was once the very rangeful and sadly missed Private Caprazzo, when this actor came into this movie and it came out, at first I was hesitant because it's like, oh great, another ego project, another ego vehicle where we just watch this person on screen for an hour and 20 minutes and how great they are and how they're just there to save the day. And look, I get it. Before we get the mail, every movie is basically like that. And I understand that. But there's a range that you have to see from the actor to care about the character. It actually more often than not ends up being more important than the script. The script helps, but if the actor isn't there to pull off what the script is trying to tell them, or at least fill in the gaps of where the script isn't there, the movie sucks. That's a lot of reasons why you have big budget movies that will hit on all the entertaining things that Josh is going to talk about and crudely compare it to high art like strip clubs, which, ladies, you are artists and do not let anyone tell you. And gentlemen, I see you. But point being,
respect.
Moving back.
Respect.
And Vim, you work it, Vim.
Right. Respect. Respect.
I'm going to give you that right now. I'll get back to that later, but I'm going to give you that right now.
I'm not going to denigrate those artists by comparing this franchise or low-level entertainment just because shit blows up on your screen and it's loud, that it was good or acceptable. And I know I've gone on record multiple times by saying The Big Hit is one of the best action movies that come out in the 90s because they knew exactly where they were. But the difference was the actors in there didn't go in there basically making a movie about their ego. So back to the movie that I was talking about where I had some trepidation, but I'm like, I'll wait for it to get to DVD. Kids, look it up. It's in history. You'll be amazed. But anyway, I'm like, I'll wait for it to get to DVD. I went to Blockbuster, actually Hollywood Video. So if you really want to go down the rabbit hole of what your parents are going through, and the black and white times that Josh is about to talk to you about. So I picked up the movie, watched it. I'm like, oh shit, this is pretty cool. Couple of different things were happening. They were willing to take chances. It was not the rote sci-fi space movie that we were getting a lot of during the early 2000s. And it wasn't trying to do what a lot of sci-fi movies end up doing, which makes it the biggest mistake those movies make. I take you back to 1984's Dune. Their biggest mistake was trying to be another Star Wars. Instead of just making a different movie where they were telling a different story, they kept trying to pigeonhole all these or wedge in all these different elements from popular movies to get the masses so they can be entertained instead of actually fucking making a movie that's based off of the source material that had so much information that frankly, they could have easily done the same thing without trying to do all the sci-fi special effects and probably would have come out with a way better movie. So because this movie that I'm talking about in 2000 didn't go in that direction, it was actually a pretty enjoyable movie. There are elements in there that you just didn't see readily in other movies, sci-fi or not. One, characters are getting killed off left and right. That is something you just do not see. You see every once in a while. I do love to talk about the Steven Seagal movie. I forgot what it was called with Kurt Russell.
Just one thing I just always have to say. Yes, absolutely. But on this show, I always say piece of shit, Steven Seagal. Continue.
Piece of shit. I think it's executive decision. Her homeboy is off in like the first 10 minutes. I'm like, look, no one's going to the movie to see Steven Seagal, but you were expecting to see like him at least halfway through the movie, not like get off 5 minutes in. Like they're like, here's a mission. All right, cool, let's go. And then he's dead. So like, and objectively, the movie was better. But anyway, back to this movie that I'm referring to, which is called Pitch Black. Characters are getting off left and right. And on top of that, the heroes weren't heroes. It wasn't even like they were trying to make them anti-heroes. They were actually making them, what I would argue, real people who had real problems in that setting that they had. And everyone was very grounded in what happened and what they did. People did selfish things that had selfish results. People did heroic things that had tragic results. And woven in between was this sort of badass person. But even he was grounded. He had certain things that made him unstoppable, but also certain things that made him very vulnerable. His character was very cool because that. He was very strategic in his approach. He was very calculating. It made sense when they talked about this character as a galactic known assassin that people were scared about, because he wasn't just running out there like he was some off junk D-level Avenger who wasn't scared about getting killed because he knew he had a 10-film project. So he's just actually navigating the whole situation that has these monsters that can basically move like he does, which is also a pretty good, cool element. They had, like I said, the heroes that weren't the heroes, and in one case was a super villain. Shout out to Cole Hauser. Love when you show up in movies, no matter how bad the movie is. So all these different things happened that made the movie enjoyable. Then you get the sequel. And that's where my point gets fucking proven to the highest degree. Because we no longer are in a grounded situation. Now we're talking about good old Richard B. Riddick from the fucking world of Furia. Furia, y'all. Furia. I'm not fucking messing that up. It's called Furia, and his name is Richard B. Riddick. So good old Dick Riddick from fucking Furia is running now unstoppable. This dude is jumping from cliff to cliff like he ain't got gravity concerns. Meanwhile, there's gravity because people are falling left and right, but that's okay. He's fucking showing down spaceships. He's just unstoppable. So by the time you get to Riddick, now we're just being fucking idiots. Now we don't even fucking care anymore. Now you talk about, me and Greg always go back and forth about sci-fi and what needs to be grounded. And I always argue that technically there's no grounding in sci-fi because you're already starting on a premise that is in fact fictional. So no matter what, whether it's grounded or not, you are not in a factitious situation. It's not reality. It cannot be grounded. So when you get to these elements, I understand that. However, by the time you get to Riddick, it doesn't matter. Like, the guy's basically a god. It doesn't matter his plan's been blown up because he'll probably fucking resurrect it in the upcoming sequel. It is no longer an actual movie, or it hasn't been for 2. It's just been an ego project, and that's why the movie sucked. That's why it's awful. It's just basically running around and say, how awesome is Vin Diesel, and y'all should be worshiping.
Well, I like it. Well done. Nice job batting lead off. Nice job. Because I fucked with you today, big time. Didn't even let you know I was going to do that to you until you showed up. So
that's cool. I got more in the tank. So y'all just go ahead. I'm going to be the guy who runs out after he got kicked out of the stadium because I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to be Bobby Bonilla in this bitch. I'm going to be in the stands wearing fake mustaches. I'm going to be trying to like basically call in and have plays. Y'all ain't stopping me on this.
Well, I'm going to drop the steel cage here in a sec. So, because I'm ready. Because you know. Well, just to understand the unrehearsed nature of this, you did a fantastic. I love what you did there. So continue. Or what's up, Greg?
I was gonna say, like, I'm glad that all of our conversations about fiction and writing have resonated a little bit. Like, I was actually really good for me to hear. Like, yes, like you absolutely have to have parameters or your story will go totally haywire and be unwatchable, which is absolutely fantastic. And yo, man, when you just, I mean, yes, all right, he kind of, I mean, he grunts his way through this movie, but yo, let's not dismiss that grunt totally, because there was Iron Giant. Don't tell me you didn't cry. Don't tell me you did not cry.
I did not, say I've never watched the movie.
All right.
Godlessness, absolute godlessness.
Hours
and as far as acting range goes, he was in a movie called, because look, if we only want you to grunt through this, then just grunt through this. But there have been times where he does more than grunt. And The Boiler Room, if you guys remember The Boiler Room, the movie.
Yes, indeed. Oh,
yeah. About the traitor. He was fucking great in Boiler Room, you know.
He was great in that. Look, all right.
But he is an actor.
You had to say.
He is an actor. Well, no, he is an actor that will absolutely turn on the grunt.
Yes.
I don't even care about the grunt. And I brought up Saving Private Ryan because he actually had to show a range of emotions. Ever since then, and look, I know what I'm about to say basically makes him a bigger Vin Diesel. I mean, a bigger Mark Wahlberg. But ever since then, all he can basically show you is either angry, happy, angry, sad, or angry bully. And like, that's it. That's all you get from this dude at this point. And like, it doesn't even matter what the characters are. They're all the same thing. And on top of that, the point about his ego that I keep making, you see it in other franchises where in the sense of like, his ego's so shattered that he can't just be a normal character that he set up. Like, this guy was already superhuman, basically, in fucking Pitch Black. He turns into basically a god by the end of fucking Riddick, to the point where it's like, why are we here? Like, he's up against species who basically are demigods, and dude just shows up by himself and takes out the entire legion.
All right.
So demigods against a whole goddamn universe and galaxy took out everyone, and this one dude just showed up that was like all the Jedis together, and he was just like, I'm just doing it.
That's it. You got it. Exactly. Love it. Here come the steel cage. Here come my 10 minutes. That's it. It's dropping down. We're locked in.
I got a screwdriver. I'm getting out of this.
You settled it exactly right. And I love it. And this is the unscripted nature of this show, folks, because we don't know this shit when we're coming into it. But you said it exactly right. Ego.
The dude literally got jacked.
The reason why it's my 10 minutes. It's my 10 minutes. I take my time. Mr. Chairman, I take my time. It is all about ego. You're exactly right. That's why we call it, quote unquote, low class entertainment, right? And entertainment for the masses, and that idea. Whose ego is being helped when you go to the strip club? Is it the stripper? No, it's the people watching. That's where they're going there. They're going there for their ego to be mollified and satisfied, which is the same thing when we go see any of those movies. Pitch Black, Chronicles of Riddick, and Riddick. Terrible name.
next level. That was a next level drop, everybody. Next level drop.
All I'm saying is that is why we go. So that is my point about entertainment for the masses. This is what I paid for. I paid to go see the boobies. I don't do that anymore, folks. I'm middle-aged and I'm married. And I also know the statistics about how many of those girls were inappropriately touched by their stepfather. So I'm just not going anymore. I'm not going to support that. So all good. But the very fact of the matter is it happened. It happened. It happened back in the day, but not even for bachelor parties now. I'm not even, and honestly, most of my friends are married now, so I don't even have to, suffer through the bachelor parties anymore. But that is why we go there. I go there because, yes, this is an ego project for Vin Diesel. You know what? There's a little part of me that wants to be Vin Diesel. I'll cop to it. Maybe not all the time. Maybe not 24/7. But I would love for one moment. I'm a dad. I'm the uncool dad. I don't even fucking try. Okay. I revel in the fact that I say to my kids because I say so. Right. I try most of the time. Sometimes I try the old explanation point and all that. It gets my explanations get shorter and shorter after the 5 o'clock hour in the day, and by the 8 o'clock hour when I'm putting their ass in bed, forget it. I am doing the Vin Diesel grunt, but that's what I'm going there to see. I want to see Vin Diesel put some weird black shit on his hair and scrape it off and shave it because that's badass, dude. I want to see those stupid goggles in the middle of the sun because he had his eyes genetically modified to see in the dark like the creatures he's fighting. I am amazed, and I am loving the fact when it comes to the sequel, that was goddamn Shakespeare.